Okay, and they provide like 100 plus cloud services, platform as a services. Okay, and various technology, whatever technology you call it, you can use it on this cloud platform. Suppose you wanted to build some blockchain or IoT, or you're a data scientist, if you wanted to use any artificial intelligence related services, or if you're a web developer, if you wanted to like deploy your application, web applications, or if you wanted to like deploy any databases like SQL Server, Oracle, whatever database. So everything like is supported by Azure. So you can also purchase VMs. You can also purchase any hardware resources, and so they support both like infrastructure as a service and platform as a services. Since they have like more than like around some 500 data centers, the scalability and all is globally it's supported security and worldwide access. Okay, so we'll jump into some more details around Azure. Any cloud service provider, if you talk, if you like try to visualize what is the data center, what is the data center on the cloud. So what basically Microsoft or Amazon is doing is they basically set up a infrastructure. They basically set up a data center, and they purchase some thousands or lakhs of virtual machines with the different generations, some i3 machines, some i7 machines, a few Linux machines. Okay, so they basically like to purchase everything, and they set up the infrastructure and networking. And on top of that, this is called actual the software they built. So Microsoft Azure, they built this software, Azure Fabric Controller. Okay, this is basically an API service. Okay, that is basically talking to the hardware manager and the Azure infrastructure. Suppose if you wanted to purchase a VM, and they provide a API here, application programming interfaces. Okay, so on top of the Azure Fabric controllers, they like created many services like application services, container services, IoT services, all those things. Okay, so these are the application layer, and the bottom are like the hardware layers. Okay, so if you take Azure or AWS or Google Cloud, everybody's built a API platform. This is a software platform which is basically going to interact with the hardware, actual hardware. Okay, so as a developer or as a IT engineer, like we are going to be working at the top level, and we will be like making use of any of these services. Okay, so the Azure Fabric controller is basically, I'll show you the this is the portal of Azure. In this portal, like where we can like go and purchase a VM. If you wanted to purchase a VM, you can go here. You can purchase a VM. Okay, you can create a VM, Azure Virtual Machine. Here you would get an option to like select what type of VMs you want, any generations. Okay, if you want a Windows servers or if you want a Linux server, everything, whatever you want, you can purchase. So this is what cloud service providers they built. Actually, they basically built a portal applications. From the portal application, you can like purchase any computer resources or services. So basically, like these are all like services. So this is one of the service I talked about, the application services. Suppose you have a web application written in PHP or JavaScript or something, HTML, where you can come and like deploy your code, and everything will be like managed by the cloud service provider. Okay, so this is one of the examples. So basically, the Azure Fabric controller is one of the interesting area to understand because these are all like hidden, and we access all the resources through the cloud service provider portal. Okay, so here you don't understand much here. If you suppose if you are going to like purchase any computer resources, probably you can just try to come here and see like what could be the best option for you to purchase or rent any of the services. So it depends on the need, it depends on our need. We can like purchase the few. Suppose you have a database server, okay, on your local, you have a database, and you wanted to like migrate your database into cloud, and you wanted to use it. Okay, so if you take about a database, the databases require a lot of memory and less computing. Okay, and in this case, probably you can go for one of the server here. Like they have different type of servers here. So they have like a few compute resources which are like compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, GPU optimized. Suppose you wanted to like deploy some of the game related applications, so you can go for GPU specific ones. They also have some high performance computing machines like the machine which is having a kind of a supercomputer, like which is having like 150 cores, okay, and some 1,000 plus gigabytes of RAM. So that those type of machines also you can purchase and use it. Okay, So everything is available on the cloud. So this is a chart where you can take a look what could be my option to purchase. Suppose you wanted to purchase or rent any of the compute resources. Okay. Okay. Let me check the time. Okay. Yeah. So the sometime before, like I talked about infrastructure as a service and platform as a services. So Azure is providing hundreds of services like platform as a services. As I already told, so this is a hardware layer, and on top of that, there is a fabric layer. Okay, and basically they have this compute, storage, networking related services are here, and on top of that, the other services like compute related services. So basically, all these services are called, these three are called infrastructure as a services, and all these, the above ones are like basically comes under platform as a services. So on the platform as a services, you don't need to, all the infrastructures are hidden for you. You'd be like working only on the application side, okay? And whereas in the infrastructure as a service model, where like you'd be given a infrastructure totally, like you would have a complete control on the VM. You can RDP into the VM, you can do whatever you want, okay? Whereas in the platform as a service, the VMs are like hidden for us, so we cannot access the VM. We'll be working on the application layer, only on the services level. Okay, so if you go to internet and you can like Google for Azure documentation. Okay, so here if you go, you can see all the Azure products, Azure platform as a services. Services and also infrastructure as a services, everything you can see here. Okay, they have for a different type of technology, they have a different type of services. These are the services basically for artificial intelligence and the machine learning related. Okay, they have a few services on the analytics. Suppose you have a database and they wanted to like do some analysis on those things. So there are many services are available here. So these services are basically compute services. Suppose you have a APIs created, RESTful APIs, where you can host your APIs. And if you have a web application like JavaScript or ASP.NET or PHP, any applications, you can host it here. Okay. And Azure functions, if anybody like working on a cloud, container related, Docker related, like you can provision your containers in the AKS. There are many services are available, depends on our need. Okay. So here I'm just giving you an overview. If in case if you wanted to get more detailed into like learning around cloud computing Azure, probably this is the best place to start understanding about all the services at high level. Then on the interested services, you can like go in and you can try to like learn about the specific services. Okay. So here itself, like you will have a quick start, like depends on the technology, you can try to like learn like how to make use of those services, all those things. There's plenty of videos in YouTube and also on the Azure side as well. So these are the services on the containers. Containers are basically a modern microservices technology where you can like containerize your applications into Docker containers, and you can like store it in a microservices platform like AKS. Okay. And on the database side also, they have many services. So you see here, they have a SQL Server database. They have Cosmos database. They are like SQL databases and NoSQL databases also available like Cosmos DB, MariaDB. Redis is in-memory cache. Okay. Then the table storages. There are so many databases are available, and they are also providing so many migration services. Suppose you already like running a database on Oracle or Postgres or MySQL. Like there are some migration services are available in order to like migrate your database into cloud and make use of any one of these services. And some developer tools available, DevOps. DevOps is another bigger area where the DevOps in any IT industry, there used to be a DevOps team on every project. They basically take care of setting up the infrastructure, and also they manage deploying the applications into cloud or on premises. Okay, so here also there are a few services around setting up deployment pipelines and setting up development test environments. Okay, so there are so many services available here. And as I talked about the hybrid cloud, there are few services available in order to set up some communications and some identity management between two different clouds. Okay, from networking perspective as well. In few places where some of the businesses like government projects, some healthcare projects, they don't even like wanted any cloud providers. Okay, but they are interested in how the cloud applications really work. So they basically what they do is they purchase the cloud software itself and they set it up on their on premises, then they run it. So some of the government related stacks are available, like the Azure stack is one of the option where Microsoft is selling the cloud applications and they can set up everything on their on premises. Okay, so those options also available. Identity is another, like Azure Active Directory and managing the identity, authentication, authorization, everything like supported here, and a few integration services. Yeah, and the traditional method, all is without this services, this for all like was very big challenging in order to set up everything and do some integrations. So once we are into cloud, everything becomes so easy. Few services around the Internet of Things, how the Uber works. Uber is one of the application which is written on this IoT, Internet of Things. There are many. Suppose if you get an opportunity to work on IoT, many services are available here, and some governance and management related services. It's very big or huge. Media services. Some media application like Netflix or Amazon Prime, like they are all making use of these type of services. And the migration services, mixed reality, mobile application related services. Okay, if you are a mobile developer, like if you wanted to deploy and if you wanted to set up some notifications, some maps integrations, so cognitive search, everything is available. It's very easy to like do some kind of integration, deploy your application and make use of the mobile services. These are the networking services, setting up site-to-site connectivity or express route, protecting your infrastructure. Everything is taken care of by all these services. Okay, security services, storage, and we have like virtual desktop. Virtual desktop is basically setting up some kind of a modern IT infrastructure where you can like purchase a VM. Suppose in a college or in a school, instead of purchasing a VM, you can come to this virtual desktop. You can purchase a single VM. So nowadays, starting from Windows 10 or Windows 11, Microsoft is providing multi-session desktops. Okay, you can purchase a single VM and you can like access with multiple sessions. Okay, suppose you have a 10 developers and 10 developers wanted a computer. Okay, and good computer. And instead of purchasing 10 computers, what you can do is you can basically purchase a single VM and where you can set up all the applications, and the developers, they can access from their personal laptop. They can access the VM which is available on the cloud. Okay. Just I wanted to show you like what are the different services are offered by Microsoft here. That's it. We're almost done. Okay, so we are in the last page right now. Yeah, so with respect to the career path and job opportunities, there are multiple opportunities, options are available here. One who learned this cloud computing, they can, if somebody is already a developer, like writing some programs or coding, and they can become application developer on cloud, and also they can become a network engineer. So a few people are like they are more interested towards like managing infrastructure, setting administrations, all those things. They can become a network engineer and also the infrastructure engineers. DevOps also is one of the very competitive options. Basically, like deploying the applications and setting the pipeline and provisioning the infrastructure on cloud, all those things. Those are the roles are being performed by the DevOps engineers. Security also is a bigger opportunity there because a lot of things to learn and implement on the cloud in order to make sure the infrastructure and applications are secured. And data engineer also is a very big demand in the market for a SQL and NoSQL databases, and also the artificial intelligence analytics. So it's a very big area, a big opportunity for data engineers as well. Solution architect is not going to happen on day one because that requires a lot of experience working on almost all the areas. If you become a solution architect, I have been working as a solution architect for more than 10 years. You would be learning like most of these areas, and you would be hands-on on giving a solution. Depends on the business requirement and all those things. So what type of resources to be provided, and what are the these are the career paths, and very big market is available on the cloud. It's very interesting too. Yeah, that's all. I'm done on this webinar, and so these are the things we learned today. And let's go to the question and answers for today. Thanks, everyone.